Hello everyone and welcome to Complete Training. What this software does is publishes to social media, both now and off into the future. You can also use this to report on all of your social media ROI, including your leads generated, revenue generated. We're going to show you how to set that up. You can view a marketing calendar to view all of your activities into the future, as well as view past events. You can also use it to create things like viral sweepstakes that generate thousands of leads for your business. You can create photo and video contests to engage your audience and generate tons of user-generated feedback. And I'll even show you how to syndicate that feedback and those user-generated photos and videos directly to your newsfeed within Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and others. So stick around. It's going to be a great training session. To get started, though, we have some housekeeping to do. Since it's a new account for you, let's set it up. What you do is go to the down arrow and click Add Account. This is going to take you into the main preferences of your account. So from here, the first thing to do is to set up all of your social accounts. What you can do within the software is set up Facebook business pages and Facebook groups. You can also add LinkedIn company pages and LinkedIn personal accounts. You can add Instagram 3 different ways. So there are 3 ways to publish. One is to publish directly. The only limitations of this are you cannot do stories and you can't publish to personal accounts. The next way to publish is via the mobile app. The mobile app is called Campaign Share. If you search Apple or Google for Campaign Share, you can find our mobile app. And this allows you to publish to stories and even to personal accounts. But the limitation here is it's not fully automatic. It's going to send you a notification. Then you go to your mobile app and it will make a sound, and it makes it very simple from there. You click on the icon and it will actually load it into your Instagram app. And from there you can publish. It'll even copy your caption directly into the clipboard, so you just have to paste it. You can publish directly via viral.io. This is an integration we have with a third party, and this basically allows you to do anything. You can automatically publish with no extra steps to personal accounts or business Instagram accounts. You can do stories. You can publish multiple photos at once as a carousel. You can publish videos. There's no limit. The only hang up is viral charges a few bucks per account per month. So you have an additional expense there. Google My Business, you can add all of your Google My Business locations here. Twitter, add your Twitter accounts, and even your YouTube channel. The reason you want to get your channel added is not only can you publish to your YouTube channel if you have new videos, but you can also syndicate those in one step to all of your social media channels. Additionally, you can add things like video campaigns, video contests, video galleries. And the way this works is you ask your audience to submit a video, and then we will syndicate that to your channel. And if they want to share it, we can do that to their social media accounts as well to help spread the word about your company and your brand. So once you're done with this, we're going to scroll on down. The default of moderation settings is perfect, so I would not change this, but you can review it. Analytics integration by default is going to drop in all of your Google Analytics code. If you use something other than Google Analytics, you can make modifications here. This and these parameters are going to be added to every link that you share using the software. If you want to disable shortening and tracking of links, just check here. Conversion tracking code, this is important. You're going to add lead conversion event tracking codes, shopping cart codes, and even custom tracking codes. So you can add additional custom tracking codes. And what you do with these codes is you're going to copy them, then go to your website, and anywhere you have a conversion event, let's take a lead event. So let's say that you have an email sign-up form on your homepage. What you would do is go into that email sign-up form, and after people successfully submit their email, you probably have a thank you page saying thank you for submitting your email. On that page, take that 1x1 transparent pixel. We give you the full code for that image. Paste that pixel anywhere in the body of that screen. That way, when the screen loads and it says thank you, it will also load that invisible pixel which tells our software that we succeeded. And it will track and report back that this was a successful conversion, and it will tell you what the original source of that traffic was that led to that conversion. Next, we have email notification preferences. This is where you're going to set up your email, sender name and sender reply to, custom campaign domain. You'll want to talk to your account manager about enabling this. By default, you'll be able to add things like your brand dot, the name of the software.com. But if you want to have this be, let's say you're Pepsi and you want this to be, campaigns.pepsi.com, speak to your account manager about setting that up. There may be an additional expense. White label applications, again, speak to your account manager about enabling this. It's not enabled by default. And what this will allow you to do is anytime you're running a campaign that has sharing, we will use your custom app within Facebook, for example. So if they sign up for a viral sweepstakes and they want to sign up through the Facebook sign-in, instead of having our brand show, it'll have your brand show on that application permission request. Once you're done here, click Save, and you are ready to jump into the publisher. First step in setting up your publisher is to go into the schedule. Look over to the right side. You have various categories given to you by default. If these match the types of posts that you're going to be doing, you're all done. If you want to add additional categories, for example, if you post holiday posts, then you might want to add a category for holiday posts. This will allow you to report on them separately. So it's not only a good reporting tool, but one other thing you can do with categories is you can set up automation, which leads us to the very next step. On the left side, this is your automation schedule. You'll notice it's set up in a weekly format. So every week, what this is telling me is that you are going to send out on a Monday, for example, 4 different posts. Each one of these schedule items represents a post. So let's take the first one, for example. Monday rolls around, it's 8 o'clock. What our software is going to do is we're going to try to match all of these conditions. So the logic goes like this. It's Monday at 8. Any post that you have tagged with any of these categories will go out at 8 o'clock in the morning to these social networks. So let's say you published it and you selected all the social networks, a profile from each one of these social networks. If you turn off all of these except for Facebook, what will happen at 8 a.m. is we will send the Facebook portion of your post at 8 a.m. But because the others are turned off, it will leave those other networks in the queue. I'm going to save this. Then what you can do is at 10 o'clock, let's say you want the rest of them to go out. So since we have the same category, let's say it was inspirational, and the category matches again, what we're going to do, and let's turn Facebook off here, the net result of this will be the rest of that same post will go out to the other social networks at 10 o'clock. And then it will be done and it will expire that post from the queue. The only exception to this is if you have re-queue enabled. And I'm going to show you this when you start publishing to social media. So I'm going to, let's save this. So now let's take our example where we re-queue our posts. When you re-queue, what happens is all of the items that are fresh in your queue are going to be selected first. But if you run out of content, let's say you go on vacation for a week and you have no fresh content added to your queue. What we're going to do is look at all of the items that you have tagged as a re-queue. These are evergreen items, things that might talk about your brand. They're not news of the day specific. So if we find a re-queue post that matches all of this criteria as well, then we're going to go ahead and send that re-queue. What this is going to do is keep your feed full of content no matter what. So you want to make sure to publish quite a few different re-queue posts as well. So if you go on vacation, or let's say your content manager quits and it takes a couple of weeks to replace them, well, all of that great content that they've been publishing will continue to be posted until you can hire somebody new and fresh content starts getting added to your queue again. So let's jump into the publisher. This is going to be your day-to-day. So what you do, like let's say You want to post something new to your schedule. I'm going to say I love Ferraris, and then I'm going to just start typing in my link. Oops, just Ferrari.com. And then as soon as you hit space, we are going to go out to that URL and we're going to pull in as much information as we can just to save you time. So I'm going to make sure that I have all of the social profiles selected that I want to post to. Notice that I can set these on or off by default just to make my life easier next time I post. If I'm posting to a group, you get some additional options here. I can post as the page that owns the group, or I can post as the individual that owns the group. Once you select page, just notice that you're going to have to select the page that owns that account. And when I say own, I mean the admin. Any admin can publish to your group. I want you to note something here. If you are publishing to a group, when you set up that group initially, there's one extra step. So when you're in account preferences and you add the group, a link will appear to add the app to your group. Make sure you go add that app, and then you'll be able to publish just fine to the group. So now that we've pulled in all the information, I've got a couple things I can do to customize my post. Let's say I want to add an emoji. You can do that here by clicking the emoji icon and just selecting an emoji. Let's say I also want to bold Ferrari. I can hit bold. And if I want to italicize love, I can italicize it here. Fantastic. So notice it already pulled in some images from the page. You can scroll through and pick the different images from the page. You can also add additional images here or here using this image icon. Notice that there's an asset library option if I have an image that I already have uploaded in the past, or if I want to pull in from my millions of commercial-free images that our software provides. I can do that here, or I can upload a fresh image from my hard drive. Let's go to the asset library. Notice we already have a few images. Every time you publish, your images will appear here in your asset library. We have a number of different folders, so you can upload backgrounds and store them here just to keep your assets and your brand consistent across all of the different assets that you upload. Now I want to go out and grab something new. So I'm going to enter Ferrari and do a search. And what this is going to do is go out to commercially free sources and pull in a number of different images. Once you find one you like, just go ahead and click it and select it. Notice that any links that you add, it's going to be added here. The first one will be added here as an attached link. So if you want to add additional links, you can continue on writing your message here and add up to 5 different links. What we are going to do in the background, when you click publish, we're going to add all of that tracking information that we added in the account setup. Remember the analytics integration? We're going to add all of those parameters to your links, and then we're going to shorten them. So you don't need to use a link shortener. It's all handled for you within our software. So if you look to the right, you're going to notice this is our next step. I want to make sure it looks good in all of the different social networks. Now, Instagram, I'd like to add a hashtag here. So I can do that a couple ways. I can click on that text and it's going to create an editor here. So I can now say Ferrari. I can do the same thing in any of the other social networks. Notice I can also add bold only to my Instagram caption. And I can add hashtags. So that leads us to our next step. Once you're done checking out the individual posts and how they're going to look, might be time to add some hashtags. So we have a nice little hashtag group organizer that you can create. Sports cars is one that we've already created, so let's go in and edit this. So notice how we have separate hashtags for each network. That's because different networks have different hashtags that may or may not work. So what you can do is go to your hashtag research tool, grab as many as you want, and just paste them into this field here. Notice I can also manually add them here. So what our software will do is we're going to automatically and randomly pick this number of hashtags from your list. So if you add 100 here, we're not going to post 100 to your post. that would crash the post and it wouldn't work. You can do only a maximum of 30 in an Instagram post. So what we're going to do is only pick the number that you want. You can manually add after that, but go ahead and select the number of posts. Like LinkedIn, they're not real heavy on hashtags, so we're only pulling in one. Once you're happy with it, give it a name and save it. And now you can very quickly add those in the future. The next step is to select a category. Remember the first step that we did? Once you set up all your categories, you have them available here. So go ahead and tag this post. And what this is going to do is drop it into the correct schedule item based on the category you selected. It's also going to make your reports really streamlined, because now I can filter that report based on the category, and it will only show us reporting on all of my promotional posts. Now remember we talked about requeue. This is where you're going to tag it as a requeue. So this is going to be for all of your evergreen content, and you can auto expire this information or this content just by selecting these options below. Let's say I only want this to go out 6 times. I would just enter 6 here. Let's say this is a holiday post. So what I can do here is I can select a specific date in the future. So I might choose to go out and have this automatically expire at the end of the holidays. You know, I've got a New Year's post going out, so I want to make sure to wait until after that. Let's select the 3rd of January of next year. From there, I can even select a specific time of day. Once that's done, you just click Add to Queue, and what will happen is it's going to add this to our queue folder, which I'll show you next. Before I do this, I want to give you some other options as well. You can publish this immediately. You can schedule this for a very specific time in the future by selecting a date. Notice that I can also requeue posts that I schedule immediately or schedule for a specific time in the future, or posts that I add to the queue. That's very important. So I could post this immediately if I have to get this out right now, but if it's also evergreen content, I might as well put that in my requeue. So now I've got that evergreen content reposting in the future as well. That's an area of flexibility that you won't find on pretty much any other software. So use that frequently whenever you can. Make sure your requeues stay populated, and make sure you expire stuff that is just getting stale, just to keep it fresh. So there's one other, instead of just selecting a date here to schedule, there's one other way I can do this. I can optimally post this. So when I select optimal, what's going to happen is, this is a brand new test account, so it's not going to recommend much for me, but it's going to go out and recommend post times based on what we observe for each one of your social networks. And the way we do this is we're constantly checking who is clicking on your posts. So now we know exactly when you can post. You can get really detailed here though. Remember we set up lead conversion tracking and revenue tracking? Well, if you've already done that, I would wait until you've posted maybe 30 times just so we can have the opportunity to analyze your account longer. What we can do, if you click this calendar icon, not only can you select an optimal time here, but within the optimal, you can go into, let's say, Facebook. And now what it's going to do, it's going to show you just for Facebook alone, these are going to be your future times that we recommend. We don't have any sales conversions yet, so we can't recommend anything, but let's say we choose optimize for clicks. If we had a bunch of clicks already in our test account, it would show us dark blue cells for the most optimal and lighter blue cells for less optimal. So it'll show us in the next 24 hours the optimal time to post based on when people are most likely to click. I can also expand this. In the next 48 hours, these are the times that we recommend. So any custom conversion events, it'll also show. So we set up a test drive conversion event for when people select, okay, I want to test drive a Ferrari, and they submit that form to request a test drive. Since we set up a custom conversion event, now it's actually going to recommend times to post to social media when I am most likely to get a test drive. That is very powerful, so make sure you make use of this. Once you've done that for each of your different social networks, then you can go ahead and schedule. But for the purposes of this test, I'm going to go ahead and publish this immediately. The reason I'm doing that is I want to show you guys one of the most important aspects of this program. We actually go out and verify every single post on every single network that we send out. So what'll happen is, see this verification report? Well, this verification report shows us that we went out and posted to this Facebook account and it is live. So we can actually click through to this test account and see the post live. This allows us to add if we want to boost the post, we can see that. If you have a client that wants to verify it, now you can take a screenshot and say, see, it is actually on the social network. This is a big time saver. So once we're done with that, I'm going to move on to the queue. What the queue folder will do is show you all of your upcoming posts. If it's already been sent, it's going to jump into your sent folder. But for now, I want to show you around in the queue. So these are the 2 posts that are still going to go out. Notice that we've already sent one immediately. That would already go to the sent folder. So what these are some test posts that I queued up before I started this video. So we have a requeue post here and a requeue post here. You're also going to see queue posts. So let's say I add a post to the queue and I select it as a requeue. It's not going to immediately show up as a requeue until it's gone out at least once. So what you're seeing here, this is the post that I just sent down here. So what happens is, remember we sent that as an immediate post, but we also switched on requeue. So that's going to drop it to the end of the line. It's going to tell us when we asked it to stop posting. Remember I selected January 3rd, 2022 after the holidays. It's going to tell you this so you can plan for that. It's also going to show you the date that it was originally added to the queue. So this one up here was sent originally as a queue post. Once the queue posts automatically go out, then it will start showing as a requeue. And scheduled items will say scheduled. Within here, I have a couple options. I can open this as a copy if I want to send this again with a slight variation. I can edit the post, or I can delete the post out of the queue. Next step, let's jump into the sent folder. So what's nice about this software is we archive everything. So you always have a nice little archive of things that you sent out in the past. But not only that, it's a big time saver, because what you can do is click on actions and you can open this as a copy. So if you have a post that did well that you want to send again with a slight variation, no problem. Just go ahead and open it as a copy and you'll be ready to send it again. You can also run your verification report again. Let's say a client says they don't see it in their feed. You can run a verification report, click on view in live feed, and send them a screenshot. Change the link. Oh boy, this one really helps. So this can be a real lifesaver. Let's say that you posted the wrong link in your post. Well, every single link that you ever send, we actually manage those links because we're a built-in link shortener tool as well. So now what I can do is say, you know what, with Facebook, I promised the client that I would also add a parameter for them and say source equals social. So now what I can do, instead of having to delete that post, is I can change this. Even if it's been shared a million times, it doesn't matter. All links that are clicked now that went out to Facebook for this post will now be redirected to this URL. So that can really save face if you happen to post the wrong link in a post. Go ahead and save the changes, and that is immediately matriculated across that social network, all shares. Next step is to go to drafts. Oh, before I move on, I want to note that there's a filter here to quickly find items in your queue, and you can also filter by category. And more importantly, there's a delete feature that we have that is pretty advanced. Some of the social networks allow you to delete posts using their API. So what that means is when you delete them here from your sent folder, it's also going to delete the live posts. We will indicate which ones were deleted from the live social network and which ones still require another step for you to go out there and delete them manually. The drafts folder will basically show any posts that you saved as a draft. I do not recommend using this as part of your approval workflow. If you have a separate person doing your social media, don't ask them to save them to drafts folder before you look at them. The best thing to do is go into your user management, which we'll go over later, and create a separate workspace user for your employee and a separate workspace user for yourself, and then set up automated routing. What that will do is when they publish, just like I just showed you how to do, it's automatically going to be sent to you for your approval, approve it, then it will go out to the social networks. It's much better than filling up a drafts folder and then opening it and then publishing it after you make your edits. Now, there's a couple other advanced features I want to show you before we move on. The import feature. First thing you do to create a spreadsheet of bulk posts to post to the software is to download an example. This will create a spreadsheet for you to show you exactly how to create your bulk posts. Now, let's say you have 100 posts that you want to create. You can just create this spreadsheet with 100 posts in it. Specify which images, any videos that you have. Go ahead and specify everything you need within that spreadsheet. And then in one step, you can upload the spreadsheet and specify which social networks it's going to go to, which category it goes to, and what it's going to do is create queue posts for each of those 100 bulk posts. And just make sure you select the correct settings. Hold is an important one. If you want to have a look at them before they go out, go ahead and select the hold, and it will hold on to them until you go into your queue and approve each and every one of them. Then click Add to Queue, and it will import all of your posts. If there are any errors, don't worry, it will tell you and ask you to go do them again. And it will even tell you which row of your spreadsheet has an issue. I want to show you these hover over icons. You'll find these throughout the software. These are just little tooltip icons to show you without having to jump into the help file, knowledge base. It'll just show you right there on the spot some information about this particular option or this particular section of the software. Next, we have another huge time saver, and this is called RSS. Have you ever been to a blog and noticed an RSS feed option? Well, every single blog out there has an RSS feed, and even YouTube channels have an RSS feed. Even Bing search results has an RSS feed. So now imagine being able to take every new piece of content that is ever added to any of those blog feeds and having that automatically be turned into a social post in your queue. We're talking about a manicured post that has the correct image, the correct title, and the correct description already populated for you. Now, that's the power of this software. We can do that. We can automate any number of different RSS feeds in one simple step. So let's click Add an RSS feed. First thing you want to do is paste that URL. So here's an example from Mashable. Their RSS feed appears here. So the best way to find an RSS feed, and there's information in our knowledge base about this, but just right-click anywhere within the blog and click View Source. This View Source will show you all of the source code of the page. Now hit Control F if you're on a Mac, and if you're on a Windows-based software, it's very similar. Just use the Find feature to find on the page the term RSS. Generally speaking, the first thing you find will be the feed of that RSS, and it'll be in URL format with an HTTP in front of it. Copy that feed, paste it here, enter the name, and it's going to go out and pull in the RSS feed information. So you can append text to it. So what this means that we will add this text to the end of the message. So you might want to give them, like if it's Mashable, we might say @Mashable. And every single post that we post from this RSS feed will actually give attribution to Mashable. Specify how many of the old posts you want to pull in immediately to add to your queue. And what will happen is we'll pull in those old posts, and then going forward, we'll only pull in the new posts that come to that feed. Specify the social networks you want to share all of these to, the category you want to tag all of these posts with, select your settings, and click Add RSS Feed. That will add the RSS feed and immediately pull in the number of old posts that you specified. Now I'd like to show you the marketing calendar. So this is an important tool to plan out your posts into the future and also plan out your campaigns. The marketing calendar will show you past messages that you've already posted. They will all be listed in previous days. It will also show you future posts that you already have in the queue and the requeue and that have been scheduled manually. Any post that you see on the calendar is going to have a colored line to the left. That indicates which category it's from. You can also click on any item and then pull it up. It's going to give you information depending on what type of message it is. This was already sent in the past, so what it's going to tell you is which social network it went out and which social profile, what category it was assigned to, which user on your team sent it, and when it was sent. It's also going to give you some high-level information on how it performed. Now, this is a test account, so obviously it didn't generate much business for us. You can also open this as a copy if you see one that did exceptionally well, and doing this will take you directly into the publisher, ready to make some tweaks and post it again. Notice you can also create a verification report from this. There are other things you can do in the calendar. So let's say you go into the future. So let's pick a future time and just click on any empty cell. What it's going to do within that cell is create a reminder. So you can create a reminder saying, time to send winner email. And you can check email, and you can add this to a category if you're creating a special category for the campaign you're running. And you can have it send yourself an email alert, and it'll default to your particular email address. So now that'll appear here as well. Just helps you plan out your campaigns a little better. So I want to show you some advanced features now. I'm going to jump into a previous week where we have some sent items. So one of the things you can do is create a tactical overlay. And when you check this box, what it's going to do is use all of our analytics to come up with a ranking for all of your previous posts. You'll notice that this particular post has a longer line than this one does. That means it performed better based on the criteria I set. So the published post rank, I have clicks, but you can also select any of the conversion tracking events that you have created or ones that you've already used from our default ones, namely the sales and revenue and the leads. So you can generate the ranking based on that, and you can also look back whatever number of days that you want. So if you want this period to be just in the last 2 days, for example, the last 7 days or the last 14 days, just make your selection here and it will broaden that time horizon. What it will also do is look to the future. So in addition to ranking the old ones, I'm going to jump into the monthly view and show you that this will actually look into the future and show you what the most optimal days to publish are when you're in a monthly view. So it'll tell you, okay, the dark blue is the most optimal. That Monday is going to be the best time to post. So what you could do is take one of your high performing, like look at this one, it's ranked pretty high. Take one of your old high performing posts and you can drag it to a post that you know is going to do well. Now notice that this is a repost. So since this is already in a requeue, then we're going to have to go to the schedule to make this change because it's automatically going to be reposting anyway. So you would want to grab an older post that's not already going to be reposted and then drag that one and it will copy it to a new post in the future. So another thing I want to show you is our filter. So you're able to, let's deselect this for now to simplify the view. And I'm going to jump into this filter. You can filter by any number of different criteria. You can only have it show you your Facebook posts, only have a specific category showing, and only have a certain type of item show on your marketing calendar. Because this can get a little overwhelming for some people, especially when you have a really active account. You also have a daily view and you have a list view, which will show you all of your posts as lists. You can also manage your categories from this view right here, and you can add categories and even edit and remove them as needed. So hopefully you can find a way to use your marketing calendar to plan out your marketing campaigns and your social media campaigns. What really sets our software apart from the others is the ability to launch engaging campaigns. I'm going to go through the different types of campaigns you can create, and then we're going to actually go through and create one. You'll notice that there's a number of templates here. At the time of this video, there's over 70 different campaigns. We already have templates set up, so it's very easy to launch new campaigns. And we have a filter that makes it easy to find the campaign template that would be right for your company. But I'm going to scroll back to the top and go over each of the types of campaigns. By far, our most popular is called the Viral Sweepstakes. And the way that one works is it allows people to enter their information, to enter a chance to win a prize. And once they enter, it prompts them to take a number of actions, like go to your Facebook account and comment on a post, or go to your Instagram and share one of your Instagram posts. Those types of actions that help increase your follower base. And you can reward them with bonus entries when they do that. Another type is called a viral competition, and it is very similar to the viral sweepstakes, but it is more of like a king of the mountain kind of a campaign where there's a leaderboard that shows how high up they are, and they need to earn additional points. The person that earns the most points wins, and they earn points in the same way as earning bonus entries in the sweepstakes by taking actions like, watching YouTube videos on your YouTube channel, things like that help them earn points. Another option is our photo contests. The photo contests allow people to submit their own photo. They can submit up to 2 photos, and the public can vote on those. So when they go to the gallery to see all of the entries, they have an opportunity to vote for one or more, and the person with the most votes wins. Video galleries and video contests work similarly. People can upload their own videos, they can record them, and once they submit those videos, the public can vote on those. This is also a very popular option because now you're generating really great video content that you can use on your social feeds, and the voting brings in a ton of referred visits because people who entered are prompted to go and share with their social network followings and generate votes from their friends and family. So that's just more people that are being introduced to your brand. Galleries are fantastic. We have a photo and a video gallery. Those are just great branded ways to get your name out there and get user-generated content, get your audience engaged. What they can do is actually submit their own photo if it's a photo gallery, or their own video if it's a video gallery, to your gallery, and people can like them. There's a heart for favoriting the photos they like. So it's like having your own little Pinterest hosted by our servers. So feel free to create any number of those galleries that you want. You can add them to your Facebook page. You can add them to your blog or your website, and we'll be going through all of the different ways of adding those to your various sites that you manage. You can also create a video or text testimonial campaign, and that allows people to submit testimonials either in text format or video format, and we will display those testimonials in a gallery on your website. It's a great way to help your conversion rate optimization campaigns, so people see that social proof directly and they want to get involved and purchase your product. The final type that we have is called a sign-up campaign. It's just a very simple landing page builder where you can build landing pages where people can sign up for things like your email list, or sign up for an event that's coming up in the future. The only thing that's different about ours that most landing pages don't offer is on the thank you page, we offer some pretty robust sharing opportunities because of our direct API that we have linked in with all the social networks. So they can share their whatever information you want, whether it's a link to your website a link to invite other people to sign up for your event, whatever it is. You can customize that sharing utility directly within our software. So those are all of the different types. The best way to find a template is to use our filter. The default is all, but let's say you wanted to create a viral sweepstakes. What you could do is just select viral, and what it just did is limited all of the templates to only ones that have the viral element, meaning it's a viral sweepstakes or a viral contest or competition. So I'm going to create a viral sweepstakes. So I'm going to choose both of these filters, and that's going to limit it even further. So let's just grab one of these. We're going to use this first one to create ours, but note that all of these have the same functionality. So what I could do, just to give you an example, let's say I don't like the look or appearance of any of these. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to grab the look and feel of the one you want. So let's say I really prefer the look and feel of a template that isn't a viral sweepstakes. What I could do is import that look and feel later in the process, and I'll show you how to do that later. But like this is, for example, this is a photo contest template. So if I really like the look of this, what I can do is create my viral sweepstakes now, so it's got all the mechanics that I want, and then I can import the look and feel from that particular template. So again, I'm going to go back and create this first one. I can preview it here, I can use the template, or I can check the setup instructions. We're not going to need this now because I know how to do this, but you might want to create these or pull up the setup instructions for yourself and have this available. So step by step, it'll tell you how to modify the template for your needs. I'm going to use this template. And what our software is going to do is create a copy of this campaign. Everything's already going to be done for you. I'm going to walk through right now the different things that I would customize if I were you. So just to show you around a bit, we're dropped into the settings step. There's also a campaign type which you should not go into, but I want to show you it's there just in case you have an emergency need to change the type of sweepstakes. The template already dropped you into the correct type. It's a viral sweepstakes, but just note that if you really need to change the mechanics, you can actually change an existing campaign over to a completely different type of campaign without destroying the campaign and starting new. So use this sparingly. The best thing to do is to create the right mechanics right from the start, which is why we created a viral sweepstakes. And again, the engagement campaigns, you could switch it to a photo contest or any other type of campaign that you'd like. So we're going to keep this as a viral sweepstakes and start updating our settings. So first thing you want to do is change the campaign name to something that's appropriate. So we're going to call this a test sweeps 6 or number 5. One thing I recommend doing if it's a contest or a sweepstakes, you want to create rules. So download our sample rules template, and once you update that with your brand information, then what you'll do then is copy and paste that here. And once you paste all of your rules text, you're ready to move on. We have default submission forms, but you might want to generate some more information from the people signing up than we asked for in our default one. So what I'm going to do is click Edit, and this is our form editor. You can create a bunch of custom fields, and you can see them listed on the left in our test account here, but let's say you want to ask people something like, when do you intend to buy? I can create radio buttons here, and let's generate this question. So change the name of it here. When are you hoping to purchase your next car? So what I'm going to do is, let's see, create a couple of options here. The first one, instead of option 1, let's choose, let's see, within 1 month. And I'm going to change the value of it. What the value is, this is the data that's stored in the database, whereas the label is what is revealed to the customer in the form. So if your customer says within 1 month, I'm going to say 1 MO as the value in our database. Within 6 months is going to be my second option. And 6 MO is the value. And let's add an option and say not planning to buy as option 3. Now I'm going to call this no. Okay, so once this is done and I like the way it looks after checking the preview, okay, I just noticed that I added it before the last name field. So what I'm going to do is exit that preview and I'm going to drag this down. So let's drag this below. I'm going to put it below the last name but above the email opt-in. And let's see how that looks. Perfect. And it's okay to send me email updates, submit. I like it. Once this is done, I'm going to close this. Let's save it. Okay, we got to name it. So this is a custom one. We're going to call this when are you buying? Because that's the custom field we just added. So now it'll be available as a custom form for all of the future campaigns that I create. It's going to automatically select that so we can move on. If you're running a double opt-in, if you're in Europe or a country that requires it, go ahead and trigger on your double opt-in. Another thing we can do instead of using the submission form is we can opt for a Facebook sign up. The advantage is this makes it really easy for people to sign up. The disadvantage is there's only a couple pieces of information you can get. So if you select also ask for their name, what you're able to do is if they don't want to use Facebook sign up, it'll say, use Facebook to sign up or give us your email and your name. So you're only getting a couple pieces of information here. If they do use the Facebook sign up, you will get their name and their profile photo. That's the really nice thing about Facebook sign up. So if you're using a leaderboard in your campaign, then Facebook sign up is a really great option. So I'm going to put it back on submission form because it's important to us that we get our salespeople that information about when they intend to buy. List integrations, if you don't have any set up yet, list integrations can be found up here in the top right. Go to integrations. That's where you would connect your account to any number. I mean, we have MailChimp integrations. There's integrations with virtually every provider. And if it's not there, we have webhooks. We have HTML form integrations as a universal integration and Zapier. So once you've already integrated your list to your third-party email service provider or CRM, then just select it from the list. So let's choose our MailChimp account. And from here, we would choose a list, for a demo client, and then move on to email notifications. So we have default email notifications set up already, but if you want to edit those and maybe add some branding, feel free to do that. So this is a custom one that we created. Notice that with our email builder, it's fairly simple. It's what you're used to seeing with an HTML designer. So you can actually drop in personalization fields. So right now this says first, and what we can do is say, thank you. Let's add their first name here again. Go to insert personalization and select whatever field it is that you want to add. And it will add the parameter for you. So now it'll personalize it and make it look a little nicer. We can also add personalized fields to our subject line. So let's add that here to the subject. And once it looks good, you can send a test to yourself, preview it, or save it. Now that we have our form and our email notifications set up, we can move on to our sweepstakes options. So there's a couple different frequency options you have here. You can have just one big sweepstakes where there's one big winner at the end, or you can make this a weekly. And I recommend doing the weekly route. You can have it be a monthly where winners are selected every month, and you would just select once per month, or you can make it weekly. The nice thing about the weekly is you'll get continued engagement. Yes, you're having to give out an award every week, but maybe what you do is a really big award at the end of the campaign, but every week leading up to the end, you have a smaller prize, like a free trial or something like that. The options here are to have that initial entry carry into the future, or you can have all of their bonus entries and things reset. So just read this over carefully and decide what you want to do. You can choose a future start time, and it will give people a timer countdown when they go to it until this time starts, or you can start immediately. And then you can have the sweepstakes end after whatever number of winner selection periods you want. If you want it to run for 8 weeks and it's set up to run with winners selected once per week, then choose 8 here, and after the 8th weekly selection, it will automatically end, and will even handle what happens at the very end. So once it expires, you can choose to redirect visitors to your campaign, to your website, or to your next campaign, or even just display a message, and it will run a red bar across the top saying, sorry, this has ended. So the next thing you'll want to make sure to check out is all of the bonus entries. So down below, you can further customize by selecting leaderboard. We're going to choose leaderboard because those are pretty engaging and fun for the entrant, and I'll show you what those look like. You can rain confetti after they earn entries, and you can even show a prize list. I recommend doing this. So for this one, we're going to say the grand prize is borrow our Ferrari for the summer. And you can put in a description here. Let's see, longest test drive ever. And finally, you can upload an image. So the image, we're going to go to images and just grab a quick Ferrari logo. And I'll show you what that prize list looks like later. So if I wanted to offer multiple prizes, I would just select 2 here, and then it will allow me to customize it for 2. All right, so the default settings is to show the leaderboard by default. You can also show the prize list by default. So this is the fun part. So here we can start out with adding only one option for earning additional entries, and we can add more each week, or you can start off with adding a bunch of bonus entry opportunities. After they enter the sweepstakes, they're going to be presented with the opportunity to earn more entries by taking these steps. By default, we have referred friend joins the sweepstakes. I recommend at least 20, maybe even 50 entries for every person that they share with who also joins the sweepstakes. This has a viral effect and allows you to get, maybe 2 or 3 additional entries for every entry that you earn by going out there and running a Facebook ad or sending them from your email list, because they're actually sharing with all of their friends, asking them to come and join the sweepstakes too. And you'll want to go through each one of these and just make sure, like if it's an action that's going to earn you business, have them do it. Like visits a page. This makes a lot of sense, right? If you have a website, why not give them some bonus entries for checking it out? So now you're driving direct traffic to Ferrari.com. And for the button text, we're going to say visit now. And you can even change this icon to anything you want. And you can allow them to do this once every campaign, once every hour. So what I'm going to do is, like, let's say I really want to generate a lot of visits. I'm going to have this set up for every hour. Let's jump into design next. So the design editor, this is the most complicated part of creating a campaign, because there are so many options. So this is where your design instincts come into play. It's a fairly simple designer to use, but you just need to customize it based on our HTML editor. So the first thing that everybody will want to do is change their logo. So the best way to do that is, you can click to the right of it, and I'm going to go back here and just backspace right over it. And then I'm going to upload an image. So you see down below, this is your HTML editor. So I'm going to upload an image. Let's grab that Ferrari logo again. And this is where you can create a hyperlink if you want this to go to Ferrari's website. Now you're once again deriving traffic to your website. Come up with a description for SEO and then click OK. So now we've got Ferrari's logo up here and the rest of this looks fine. If you want to change anything, just click in it and start typing. It's very simple. So this shows us what the home screen looks like, and this shows us what the thank you screen looks like. We're going to have a very detailed design editor tutorial later in this training, but for now I just want to get this created for you so you could see how it works. So this is what the thank you screen looks like. You'll notice we have a leaderboard, we've got a prize list, and this looks fine. On the left side, here's all the information you have to make any changes. The only thing that you really would want to for sure go in and change is in advanced settings. Well, I mean, certainly if you're in another country, you'll want to change the language. And the nice thing is we have over 100 languages here that you can automatically translate every piece of text in your campaign automatically for you. That's very important. Also in the advanced settings, things that I recommend you change, just make sure all the SEO is looking good. Put your brand name. So we can say join our Ferrari test drive giveaway or whatever it's going to be. Next thing you want to do is upload an image. This is the image that will get shared as people share your sweepstakes. So this one, we put a default one in there, but you might want to upload one that includes your logo at the top. So you'd want to go take a new screenshot of your campaign. And if you have a favicon for your website, go ahead and upload the 48 by 48 pixel favicon so you have that customized as well. Also, if you're using Facebook retargeting tags or something like that, go ahead and paste them in here. Just know that if you put it in this area, it's going to fire on every single screen. Whereas if you put it on the thank you screen only, it's only going to fire if they successfully submit to the sweepstakes. And our editor handles most design desires that you have. But if you have a team of designers with some advanced CSS skills, we allow you to customize the look and feel using CSS right here. So now I'm going to jump into the save and deploy. Just click here on number 4. So we're finished. It's created the campaign. And now what it's done for us is generated a microsite. So this is a hosted, I'm going to copy this to the clipboard. It's generated a hosted campaign. So now it's got our logo up here at the top behind the starburst. And as they scroll down, you can see it's got a countdown timer automatically that says we've got 6 days, 23 hours until the next week. The award is given to the next weekly person. It shows our prizes. We'd want to update this in the design editor if we're giving away something different than that. But notice it's asking us when do we intend on purchasing. I'm going to say within 6 months, and I'm going to join. So there's our confetti. It's already added me now, so I'm number 1 on the leaderboard, and it's going to give me opportunities to earn additional entries. So I can either share my custom unique tracked link, or I can earn bonus entries down here. So remember we created the visit our website bonus entry challenge. So what I can do now is visit this, go to the Ferrari website, and go back. So now you'll see it allowed me to earn 20 entries. So I've got 21 entries, and I have 21 entries here. And what it's saying here is you've earned 20 so far, but you can earn again in 60 minutes. And it will actually count down and allow me to earn 20 entries more after an hour passes by. So now what I've done is I'm re-engaging these people. I have an excuse to go out and email them again and tell them, hey, come back and earn more entries. So what will happen is this will reset and unlock, and now this will be able to be used again after 60 minutes for this one given entrant. You'll notice we have a prize list as well. So now the Ferrari website appears, and we've got information over here. We would definitely want to fix the aspect ratio on the logo, because if you recall, we had a really tall and narrow one. So you'll want to just take a look. Go ahead and enter your own contest. Make sure it looks good. And obviously 01 would say 02 for the next one, and then 03. And once it looks good, you're ready to go and start generating some leads. Before I let you go, I want to show you the other options. You can actually add this campaign in a number of different ways. So if you have let's say you have a restaurant or a shop, go ahead and generate a QR code. Just check here, and we create an image for you. It's actually a very high-res image. Right click and save this image locally, and you can print this on a flyer for your window, a flyer at the checkout. If you're a retail, if you're a restaurant, you can actually put a little A-frame on each table next to the menus where people are encouraged to scan with their cell phone. And because all of our campaigns are mobile optimized, they'll be able to enter this on their phone while they're eating. You can shorten this link if you want something nice and short to share. But this is the really powerful part. We generate all the code that you need to just paste this into your website and create widgets. So you can add this to your website using an iframe. And what an iframe is it allows you to enter the entire campaign in a window directly in the middle of your website or wherever you want to add it on your blog or website. They'll be able to enter and share right there without leaving your Shopify site, your store, or your main website, blog, anywhere without having to leave it. So that's a very powerful widget. Sticky tab, what this does is it will add a little tab on the right side, and you can have it say whatever you want, like Sweepstakes, and you can even make that open up and then close automatically just to encourage people and entice them in to do that. All of the widget settings for things like automatic opening and closing, those are all handled in the design editor, and we're going to go over the design editor training in a little while. Pop-up, what this allows you to do is you can set it so if people try to leave your website, it will pop up and ask them to sign up for your sweepstakes. Or you can have it just pop up after 10 seconds, 20 seconds, totally up to you. And again, that's controlled in the edit widget section of the design editor. Now for the button, you will need within the design step, you'll need to go to edit widgets and upload a button image. But then you'll be able to copy this and paste it anywhere on your blog, anywhere on your website. And when people click that button, it's going to generate a pop-up where they can enter your campaign. And finally, right here from within the software, you can add a tab to your fan page. Your Facebook page needs to have at least 2,000 followers. That's Facebook's rule, not ours. And if you have at least 2,000 followers, you can just check a box and add the campaign directly from here. You can even create a fan gate. So you can click here to upload an image and add your fan gate. And what will happen is when they go to your Facebook tab, it will prompt them to like the page before they proceed and enter the sweepstakes. So that's how you create a campaign. It's very similar for all of the other campaign types. If you have any questions, of course, you can always reach out to us. Just click on help and proceed from there. Let's go over how to manage your campaigns. So over on the right side next to your campaign, you've got a number of options. There's a console, which I'll go into in a minute when I show you how to reward sweepstakes winners. You can also export a user list. This gives you all of their name, contact information. Everything in the database will be exported. You can preview the campaign, get the code. This just takes you to that final step of the campaign where you can grab that microsite URL and the widget code. You can make edits to your campaign, delete it, clear the entries. The main use for this is, let's say you want to really test it well before you launch it. What you can do is just launch it and then test it and then clear your entries. So when you clear them, it's going to wipe everything out fresh, so you can just go ahead and start with that existing launched campaign and know that everything works exactly as it should. You can copy your campaign, which is a good idea. Just if something goes wrong, you'll have a copy of it. Like if you mess up the design or something, you'll always have that separate copy. You can always pause the campaign as well. And this is interesting because you've got a couple choices. When you pause a campaign, you can have the microsite URL display a blank page with a message. This isn't really necessary usually, but if for some reason you need to pause it in the middle, you could use this HTML editor to say something clever like, we've taken the week off, we're not monitoring this campaign, we will resume on a certain date. You can also redirect visitors to a specific URL. So this is something that could come in handy as well. What I'm going to do for you right now, though, is let's jump into the console, and I'm going to show you what I do when I reward a campaign sweepstakes. So for a sweepstakes, the first thing you want to do when it's time to award a winner is follow these 3 steps. And number 1 is go ahead and declare the winners. Select the finalists. Clicking this green link, what this will do is it will randomly select each person as a winner, quote unquote. So the ranking that you see here is a winner rank. The reason we don't just pick one person and say, okay, go give them a prize, there's a couple of reasons for that. Number 1, you might have 4 prizes that you're giving away and you want to choose the top 4. Second reason is this person might be a cheater. So all we're doing initially is just giving you a ranking where, with all those things being clear, this person won. So after you click this green one, you're going to want to go through and make sure this is truly the winner. Yes, he has the most entries. That's not always the case. So what we're going to do is, let's say this person had only 20 entries and this person had 30 over here, and they are the only 2 people in the campaign. So what we're going to do is we're going to count 30 entries for the one person and only 20 for the other. So that person would have, roughly a 20% more chance of winning, something like that. So it does help to have more entries. It increases your chances of winning, but it's still a random selection that's just slightly biased in favor of the person with more entries. So what I'm going to do for this person that was selected as number 1 is I'm going to start scrolling to the right and just kind of glance over at which extra points they got. Because for some of them, it's going to give you a link below. For example, on the Visit Us on Facebook, we will ask them, what is the username of your account on Facebook? That way we can go and validate it. We can make sure a user of that name went to our Facebook account. This is a bad example. We might say, we would do that for a comment, because that's something that's verifiable. And we would go and make sure there's a comment from a person with that username. So once we look at those, the next thing I would do is I would go over to Actions and check View Entry Detail. This is going to show us all of the counted additional entries that this person earned. And it gives us a chance to see, where was the browser of, if it was a person referred, what is the browser location? Does anything look fishy? Is the cookie ID the same as the person? What you see here in blue, this is the cookie ID of the person who originally entered. So as you could see, it's the same cookie ID, or very similar cookie ID, same IP address, but slightly different cookie ID. That would tell me that the person used a different computer, a different device, to go and take this action. I would delete this one because that is just too close. Same IP, slightly different cookie. It means they probably just went over to another computer on the same network, same IP network, and referred themselves. Because this was a referral, what I would do is move this to not counted. And if everything else looked good, then I would have to make a determination. Okay, now they have only 21 entries. What you might want to do, if this put them way below everyone else, you can reselect finalists. Or you can say, you know what, that person cheated. I'm just going to move on to the next one. And just keep moving on to people until you find a winner that looks legitimate. Personally, that's what I would prefer to do. If I found that they cheated at all, I wouldn't even give them a chance. But if you want to, you can remove the entries they had and then click this reselect finalists. And when you do that, it'll just reset the process and randomly pick somebody new, but with their lower entry count. So the bias that they have towards winning will be reduced, and they will have a less chance of being picked the next time around. Once you've found the person that you want to declare the winner, you can declare the winner. Just keep in mind, all this is going to do is give you an internal note that this is the person you flagged as the winner to keep track for the future. You are going to have to copy this and go send this person an email saying that they've won. Our system will not automatically notify everybody because we know that you probably want to customize it, maybe even include a discount code if that's what they want, that type of thing. So that's it. That is how you go and select your winners. If you have any additional questions, please reach out to us in help. Thank you so much. Now it's time to do a deep dive on the design step of your campaign. Our design editor is just like most HTML editors that you've seen, except we've broken our campaigns into sections, and we call them content blocks. The reason for that is we have mobile responsive design right out of the box. And the easiest way to do that and design to that is to have boxes that just kind of jog over to the right when it's on a large screen, and then they jog under the other blocks when you're on a mobile. So picture them as like stacking blocks that can expand and contract to fill the screen that they're being displayed in. So I'm going to go over those blocks right now. Once you get this, you'll understand the layout of our campaigns. So what you're looking at now, first of all, is the home screen. All of the different screens of the campaign you're using are going to be displayed right here, and you can switch between them. The header is displayed on the home screen always, and the header is displayed on the thank you screen only if you enable that. So we'll get to that in a minute. But just so you understand the navigation up here, some of our campaigns, like if you're doing a photo contest, it'll have a home screen, it'll have a gallery screen, and a thank you screen when they submit it. So there's a whole number of different screens that you can preview and make edits to. Continuing on the top here, the navigation, you've got an undo button if you make a mistake. And this even works months later. So we store 6 or 7 of your previous sessions. Every time you save, it's going to create an undo restore point. Once when this is gray, it means that there's no changes made, so you don't need to save. But we do auto save, but if you feel more comfortable clicking the save button, that'll guarantee that it's saved what you've done. Over here, you can change the preview mode to mobile preview, so you can see how it looks in a mobile device, or over here, the PC preview. Now, let me show you those content blocks. The very top one is going to be your header. So see the black lines that appear when I hover within the header space? So this is your header content block. On the left side, this is called the above form content block. And this is your form. So this isn't really a content block, but I just want to show you this section. And you'll notice that it still has the black line around it, just so you know that this is the form section. There's also another section that can appear below here. We don't have it enabled right now, so it's a good chance for me to show you how to enable and disable content blocks. But there's another one called a below form content block. And the way you, let's show you how to do this. If you click anywhere within the content area, you'll notice that this content area auto-expanded. So I could have clicked it, but it's just a shortcut that we've added for you guys. Whenever you click in an area, it's going to expand the options for that area on the left. That way you're not hunting around, okay, which section is this? What did they decide to call it? Just click in the area, and in general, that's going to allow you to either edit it or open up an options area on the left where you can make changes. So these are the content blocks. We've already gone through all of these, except for a couple that I want to show you now. Below submission form, when you check that box, it's going to add another box. So see this little area here? So now I can click on that, and I've got my HTML editor, so I can do things like add a countdown timer. And when you create a countdown timer, you can change when the end time will be. The default usually works just fine, and it's contained within that content block. We try to squeeze things in so they fit, so you're not spending your time resizing things like images, countdown timers, and other contents. So now we've just added a countdown timer below our submission button. We also have a footer that we can enable or disable. So the footer is a content block that runs across the entire bottom. So you'll notice it's not split up on the left side and the right side like the other ones are. The footer goes across the entire bottom. So there's a couple ways to hide an item. You can click the little hide icon right here, and all that does is it unchecks it. So now if I click in the content area again, you can see the footer is unchecked. So you can either toggle that here or over there. So now that we have those basic principles, I can show you other ways of changing the layout. You'll notice that the above submission form, which is this here, the reason it's called that is currently it's in split form. It's called display separate column. If I disable that, instead of having that above submission form item in a separate column, it's going to stack above the form. So now we've got a full width content block here that stacks below the header. So we've got a header, a full width content block above the form, and you've got a full width form now that's allowed to expand much wider. And below that, we have our below submission form, which, as you can see, is now allowed to go full width. And once our footer is enabled, of course, that will also be full width as well down here. So this is a very attractive layout, and it's a very popular one. However, when you do separate column, it may not look as trendy, but one of the really great things about it is it brings your submission form a little higher. And in marketing, it's really about conversions. And if you want more conversions, don't bury your form. So I recommend you use the split layout if you want to get more people to sign up. You care more about that than you do about the design and the look and feel. So now that you understand all of the different content blocks, I'm going to get into some of these options on the left. The first option is to import a design, and this is very powerful. There's two templates that you can choose from. You can import from all of our templates. So when you click select template, you probably recognize all these templates from when we created the campaign to begin with. Any one of these can be used, and when you select it, it will apply this to the entire campaign. So you'll notice that it still says Ferrari and giveaway. Here's why. I did not choose to import the content blocks, only the style settings. So that pulls in the new background, but it left my content blocks intact. So that's what you'll want to do if you want to save all of your content blocks and don't want to pull in all the content block information from the other one. Now you can also import from a previous campaign, and this gives you a lot more options. So let's say you already created a great campaign last year, and you want to import that one and use that design that you already spent time on. You can just do that by selecting the campaign that you want to import and clicking import. Just keep an eye on all these checkboxes. It's going to literally import and replace your entire design if you leave these checked. So only check what you want to import. Page background. Now there's a few different ways that you can use our backgrounds. You can have absolutely no background at all. You can have a full screen image, and you can select that background image here by clicking that. You can repeat the image. If it's not a massive one, you can click repeat image and then have it kind of stack, and it'll just repeat down the page. Image in fixed position is the default, and what happens there is as you scroll up and down, notice how the person in the background isn't moving. Well, if you delete or if you select this other one where image scrolls with the page, then he'll move up and down as you scroll. You can apply grayscale and make your background color go away, or slightly just mute the colors. To give it that effect, you can blur the background image, and this works great if you have like a landscape photograph, for example, of a lake or something like that, but you don't want it to be so literal. You can blur it, just give it that nice natural effect. And you can also apply an overlay. So if you change this color, let's say to a hot pink, and then you start increasing the opacity, look what it does. It can just start, well, let's see, I didn't select pink yet. Let me do that. So I'm going to select one of those pink colors, and then watch what happens when I increase the opacity. See how it just slowly starts washing everything with pink. So you can do that to a photograph as well and get some really cool effects. So you'll want to play around with that until you get the right look. Another thing you can do is check image behind campaign area only. I'm going to click on this just so you can see what it does. Basically, this will apply this. Instead of applying it to the entire background, it'll apply it only behind the content area, which is limited to like the width of the header and the width of the main body area. So Like when you turn on an overlay, you can kind of start getting a feel for, see how the background is white now? There is no background image anymore. The image is only appearing behind what we have here in the content area. So this is more of an advanced one. I generally don't recommend using it. The best one is going to be your full screen image, so it fills the background, and that looks fantastic. So I'm going to go to the header area. So the header, there's a few different ways of handling your header as well. You can have the page background image containing the header. So with that, it's going to allow you to have, like instead of having an HTML form header right here where you can click inside and make edits to it, the page background image contains header is just going to eliminate this box completely, but it's going to space out this content area and move that down the page a certain amount of pixels that you specify. You can add a header image and just upload an actual image instead of having a design here that you can click in and make changes to. So if you had a designer create a really beautiful JPEG image for your header, you'd want to select this and upload that JPEG. Don't worry, we'll make space for it. We'll move the form and the above form content block down low so it accommodates it. The design header is the default for pretty much all of our campaigns, and it's what I recommend you use. This is what allows you to just click inside and make changes. You've got your own little HTML area to play with here. The space around contents, you can see what happens here. When you turn this up, we just add padding around the left, right, and bottom of all the contents of your header and just spaces it out a little more. The header height, you can have it expand to fit, which is our default. I highly recommend this, or you can have a fixed height header. Some of our designs will have fixed height selected. Some of them have expand to fit. Generally speaking, just leave it alone because our templates are designed to work great in mobile and desktop. So leaving it to the setting that we have in here will ensure that it looks good on both devices. Background color, you can specify a different background color, but just keep in mind if you're using a background image, it will never be seen, especially if you use like the fixed image and you've got a large enough image to fill the screen. This would kind of be a backup. So if the image was too small where it's not covering the entire background, at least it will show a color instead of white. And you can change the background color too of your header. You can also have no header at all. So when you select no header, it's just going to move your content area all the way up to the top. So let's see here, the header area background color. You'll notice that the header itself on a viral sweepstakes is the header area. It completely covers it. But there are other campaigns like a photo contest where you've got a navigation button that sits between the content area and the header area. And the navigation button would be submit your own photo. It would be a button there if you're on the gallery, and if you're within the submit photo area, then it would say view photos. So that navigation button has its own background area, and that's where you would want to play around with your header area background color to make sure it matches up nicely with whatever header color you're using. And you can change the opacity of the header area background color too, because transparent is pretty popular right now. And when you have it on 0, whatever you have as your background image and color is going to show through. Hide header area on thank you page, or hide header on thank you page. I highly recommend leaving this checked, because what will happen here, especially if you have a large header like we have here, you'll notice on the thank you screen, it's gone. And it can get directly into this part that has their entries and their days left. If I uncheck that, it's going to show a massive header, and they're going to have to scroll down to see the important information on the page. The content area. So we've gone through the content block portion of this. Each campaign will be slightly different. See this Your Entered banner? This is where you would select that header image. So you can change that, or you can change it to design a banner. And then you can just click inside here and use our HTML editor to create whatever you want. The space around content blocks works just like the other one that I showed you, where you can, I'll go back to the home screen, where you can add some more space, like over here in your HTML area. If I increase this, notice that it gives us just a little more margin, and it just depends on the look you're trying to achieve. So I'm going to change this. This looks like it needs to be centered. Done. All right, so getting back into the content area. The content area has its own background color, as you can see, and I'm going to show you what happens when I start changing that. I'm whitewashing it by using the white color and increasing the opacity, whereas I can wash away the color and go to 0 on the opacity. So now it's going to have a different look. So notice how the entire background is showing through. I'm going to leave it like this. I think that looks a little bit better. You can change the font. You can change the text color, the bonus challenge background color, and the bonus challenge text color, and the leaderboard. There's a lot of different ways to configure the text and the text color. So you'll want to play around with that if you want to make something custom. So edit the shell. The shell is the part that goes around all of the content blocks and the header area. So the shell kind of runs, this is about the border. So between the content area and the background is a shell. In general, you're going to leave that empty. Some people want to get a nice border around it and really confine it. So what you'll see here, see the gray? Like, let's make this outer globe black so you could really see it. And then you can have a different pixel glow. So if you want to have a drop shadow where you really frame your campaign area behind a background, this is a great way to do it. Every designer has their own way of doing it. So this is, again, something you'll just want to play around with. I'm going to turn off the border. Edit the buttons. This is where you can change your button colors, size. So you'll definitely want to play around with the buttons, and you can also change the main submit button text right here. Edit the form. It's just as it sounds. Here's where you can change the look and feel of your form. So notice how we have like a solid white background. You can actually make these transparent very easily by going to your edit form. And let's do this now. So currently we have the labels inside the field. And what I want to do now is go to the opacity. So I'm going to change the opacity to 0. But what I want to do is put a border on it. So the border color, let's make these dark gray, and then change the pixel thickness to 1. And what that'll do is give us a nice thin outline, and it still has a nice background color on hover. If you want to change the on hover, you would just change it here. So you could select a different color than white if you wish. So it's starting to look pretty good. You can also move the labels above the field. I like them inside the field because it keeps the form a little more condensed. And edit widget. So this is where you're going to change how your widget functions. Okay. If you want your widget to appear on your blog, for example, or your website, you can have this campaign pop up or slide in, and this is where you're going to configure it. You don't need to configure all of them. Only the widgets that you plan to use will need to be configured. So I'm going to start with the iframe. In general, I prefer automatically resizing my iframes. That way, wherever you place it on the page, if you place it like within a div or something on your blog, it's going to fill that div. It's going to fill the container you put it in. The tab, this is going to be a little sticky tab that stays on the right side of the screen, exactly where you place it. So from here, you're going to select what's the color of the tab, what's the color of the text, where do you want it positioned? Do you want it 50 pixels from the top or from the bottom? You can also set it to open automatically, only on the first visit, and only 2 seconds after the page loads. And then you can have it automatically close 2 seconds after that. So the net result of this would be somebody comes to your page, the the tab will slide out and expose the entire campaign. After 2 seconds later, it'll slide closed. So it's just kind of a peekaboo effect, and it's really effective. Definitely grabs attention. Pop-up, same thing. You choose what the fly-in effect is. If you want to delay the pop-up until they intend to exit the page, just click here. Now what'll happen is when they move their cursor up to leave your page, it's going to pop up and tell them, hey, wait a minute, join our sweepstakes. There's also a button. You can upload any button image you want, and we'll give you code to paste that button anywhere on the page that you want. When someone clicks it, it'll pop up the campaign. So we are not going to select an image. We're going to leave it on iframe, and let's move on to edit language. So this is where you can translate anything you want. So you can go in here. This doesn't have to be translated to a different language. Let's say you don't want please enter email. You don't like how that looks. You want to say, please enter your email address. That's it. Since this is checked on, it's now going to change this to this. And these are categorized. There's a lot of language in here. Like this is categorized under alerts. So now your alerts will say that. But if you do want to translate to another language, I recommend using our auto translate feature and just look at all the different languages. We have over 100. Just choose the language and it will automatically convert everything to that language for you. Once that's done, you'll be able to go in and make edits for your particular dialect. So advanced settings. Oops. Let me make sure I save this. Don't want to lose my translation. So I'm going to click on advanced settings. This is the final section. So from here, you can do things like block search engine indexing. If this is a private campaign, you can change the title. And here's why this is important. When people share your campaign on social media, it's going to grab the page title and description and put that on their social media feeds. So you want to make sure that your description and title are very detailed. Also, your keywords, you might as well put that on there, and we'll add SEO keywords so people find your campaign. As we scroll down, this page image, well, that's what's going to show up in their social feed. Let's say they share your campaign URL to Facebook. Don't you want it to look nice in their Facebook feed so a lot of people come to your campaign? If so, you'll want to make sure to go in and select a really good page image. The favicon is that tiny little thing that appears at the top of your browser next to the URL. Well, why not use a 48 by 48 pixel of your brand, your logo? That's where you would upload this. Finally, we have tracking and retargeting tags. So you can add it in either place. You can add all campaign screens or only on the thank you campaign screen. So this is where you would add things like your Facebook pixel, where it can generate an audience for you for retargeting. You also might want to put things in here like conversion tracking. If you have something other than Google Analytics that tracks your conversions, go ahead and paste that code here, that script, and we'll fire the script every time somebody makes it through to the thank you screen. Add CSS is really advanced. If you are an advanced, experienced designer, we do have CSS available, and when you inspect elements, we do have element names for everything on our campaigns. So you are able to add some additional tweaks to your design using CSS. Things like, if you want to hide elements that we display, go ahead and add those here. And finally, the company name. In general, by default, we're just going to pop in your company name. But if you're running this for a different company, you can change that here. And this will show up in places like, we automatically put terms and conditions in certain places. Like if they're going to record a video testimonial, we want to make sure you get permission to use that and display that in places like YouTube or on your website. So we're automatically going to pop that company name into that exclusion so you have license to use their user-generated content. So that's the main reason why you'd want to populate this. So you are a design expert now. So looking forward to seeing what you guys put together with your next campaign. You also have the ability to create share buttons for any emails you're sending out, any pages on your website, or pages in your blog. And there are a number of advantages to using our share buttons. Let me just take an example here. Like this is a Golf Digest share button. So they might have included this in an email. We create a complete microsite for every share button, believe it or not. So when you generate a new share button, we're going to give you a link to this microsite. So this standalone page is going to let people share whatever it is you want them to share. In this case, it's the Golf Digest website. It gives a preview of what they're about to share, including the link image or the link URL, as well as the link title and the link description. And you can preset a message. So all they have to do is go in and edit this or just publish it as is. They're not having to make it up off the fly like a blank share button would. And furthermore, not only are they able to post everything right here without leaving the page, but also when they close this, it's going to take them to whatever the link is that you're sharing. So it's kind of driving that traffic back into your website. So I'm going to show you how to create one. This is the Golf Digest one. Notice that this is the button image that we're using. So I'm just going to edit this one because we've already created it. So when you create these, you just create a name for your button and plug in the link to share. And we'll pull in all of the information right here by clicking the update preview. And you can see on the right, it's already pulled in the link image, name, and description. I would always leave on allow email sharing. Button image, we've got a few presets, plus you can upload your own custom button if you wish. You can also add a share counter. If you want to attach a video, you can do that. And what happens is this will move your attached image or your attached link to the message field. So basically when they publish it to their own, like let's say they're sharing this video, it's going to not only share the video, but it's also going to share a link to the website itself. So this is kind of a nice feature to have. You can also make it have a default customer comment. If you recall, it already said, I love this magazine, download this free sample issue. It already said that in the message field. Some people don't know what to write. So this way you're giving them something to write. They can always edit it if they wish. One advanced feature is you can actually add a coupon or a white paper link or something like that after the customer comment. So notice that above here it says, I love this magazine, download the free sample issue. What I can do, if I have a web page, we'll just call this freesample.com, I can actually include this link. And the call to action will be, instead of view coupon, it'll be start trial issue. Or instead of start, let's say get your trial issue. So now it's going to add that as an optional link that they can add on. So I'm going to click save and deploy because everything looks good up here. So that looks nice. So I'm going to save and deploy, and that's going to take me to the final step, which is to get my deploy code. You'll notice that it creates a number of different ways of adding this to your site. If you want to add it to a web page, you can just grab this copy and paste it into your website. That will keep people right there on the page where you are. If you want it to be added to like an email, it's going to create just a static HTML button, and you would paste this into your HTML of your email that you're sending out. There's no JavaScript used here. It's just a straight button that's going to appear in your email that will work on any browser. What you can also do is add a share link to your white papers, direct mail, and signage, things like that. And all this is going to do is it's going to shorten up the link. So you can just grab this link, and I'll show you where this goes to in just a second. We also generate a QR code if you want to put it on signage within your store. So let's go have a look at this. I'm going to paste that shortened link we just created, and it goes to something that looks just like what we had before in our demo. But notice that now it's got a checkbox. It's checked by default that says add a special offer to your message, get your trial issue. And if they click this, it'll actually take them to the free trial that they're going to be offering, but at least they have an option to remove that if they don't want to. That keeps you in compliance with all the social networks. So that's how our share buttons work. One other nice thing about our share buttons is that we generate a social CRM every time somebody uses the share button if they're sharing to LinkedIn and Twitter. That's not allowed for Facebook because of their API limitations, but at least if they tweet it or share it via LinkedIn, it'll actually pull them into your social CRM database. You'll get their name, a link out to their social profile so you can actually reach out to them. That's it. And next we are going to be talking about an in-depth design editor preview and show you how to use the design editor like a pro.